That day, she went back to the professor's house, wearing dark glasses to hide a swollen eye. And for the first time in her life, she spoke. Truly, she told everything. The humiliations, the control, the financial restrictions, the insults, the isolation, the beatings. She poured out years of bottled-up shame, and he listened to her without interrupting. Then, he told her something she would never forget. Tyranny grows like a tumor. If you don't cut it out, it devours everything. Then, he did something he had never done with anyone before. He told her his story. He had loved deeply. He had a beautiful wife from a powerful family and a little boy he adored. One day, during an outing in the countryside, tragedy struck. His son, barely 5 years old, had wandered near the river. A single moment of inattention, just one, and the child drowned. After that, his wife and her family needed someone to blame. And that person was him. They destroyed his reputation. They spread rumors that he had gone mad, that he was dangerous, cursed. He was cast out, defamed, buried alive. To society, he had become the perfect monster. But behind that reputation was a man crushed by loss, not a murderer. Marina then understood that monsters are not always the ones we point fingers at, and that respectable faces sometimes hide the worst kinds of violence. The professor's health was deteriorating. He rarely went out, walked with difficulty, and coughed more and more. One day, he handed Marina an envelope containing the key to a safe deposit box and the contact information of a notary. He had prepared everything. At first, she refused, shocked. He insisted. He asked her only one thing: to live, to truly live, to start over, not to end up like him, locked away in a tomb before his time. Meanwhile, Stas was preparing a new trap. He decided they would move into a house outside the city, far from everything, far from everyone. He announced this to her as if it were good news, as if it were a decision made for her own good. In reality, Marina immediately understood what it meant: total isolation. No more escape, no more neighbors, no more witnesses, no more air. That night, she sat in the kitchen, in the dark, watching the city lights. She thought about the young woman she once was, about her dreams, her painting, her lost voice. Then she realized she still had one chance left. One last chance. Only one. At dawn, while Stas was in the shower, she took a small suitcase. She put her papers in it, a few old sketches, almost nothing else. No jewelry, no beautiful dresses, none of the symbols of her prison, just the essentials. She wrote a note on the table, farewell, and she left the apartment on tiptoe. She crossed the landing and rang the professor's doorbell. When he opened the door, she was standing there, trembling, with her bag in her hand. She had only one thing to say. "You were right." Then, he silently stepped aside and let her in. It was the first day of her new life. The divorce was quick, dirty, psychologically violent. At first, Stas threatened to destroy her. Then he begged. Then he tried to make her feel guilty. Then he played the victim. Like many men of that kind, he could not stand losing control, even more than losing the woman. Marina, for her part, no longer wanted anything from him. Not money, not property, not memories. She just wanted to get out of this story alive. It was at the notary's office that she learned the unthinkable. The professor had left her his apartment. This man, whom everyone treated as a madman, was passing on to her the only possession he still had, like handing a torch to someone you want to save from the darkness. Marina cried. She tried to refuse, but he didn't really give her a choice. For him, it wasn't charity. It was a gamble, an act of faith. He believed in her more than she had believed in herself in years. Little by little, Marina began to exist again. At first, modestly, she found a job in an art gallery. Then she started giving drawing lessons. Then she began to paint again. At first, her hand trembled as if the colors were afraid to return. But day after day, her movements grew more confident, her canvases brighter, her landscapes more alive. It was as if all the accumulated suffering was finally being transformed into substance, into light, into beauty. The professor, for his part, passed away a few months later, quietly, in his sleep. His passing was a tremendous shock. Marina then lost not only the neighbor who had saved her, but also the only person who had looked at her in recent years as a whole human being. While putting away his things, she found a photo album. On one of the last pages, there was an old photograph. A young and beautiful woman, a little boy laughing by the riverbank, and him, younger, more upright, happier. Beneath the photo, a few words handwritten, "My life, my love." Marina then understood the full extent of what he had given her. Not just an apartment, not just protection. He had given her a future because his own had been destroyed. He had saved her where no one had tried to save him. As for Stas, he didn't wait long before rebuilding his facade. Very quickly, he started a new life with a younger woman, more docile, smiling more in the photos. Social media soon showed their country house, their dinners, their vacations, their flawless happiness. This time, Marina felt neither anger, nor jealousy, nor regret. Only an immense pity for the one who was taking her place in the picture. One evening, standing in front of the window of the apartment that had become hers, Marina watched the city sparkle in the distance. On her easel rested a new canvas bathed in sunlight, vibrant with life. For the first time in a very long while, she was no longer afraid of tomorrow. She was no longer the perfect woman of a perfect man. She had become herself again. And sometimes true deliverance does not come from those who shine in the eyes of the world. It comes from the one you were taught to fear, from the one everyone judges without knowing, from the one who, despite his wounds, still finds the strength to save a soul that is sinking. So, tell me, how many lives around us look like fairy tales when in reality they are silent prisons? And how many women remain trapped simply because they have not yet met the person who will tell them, "At last, you can leave, you can live, you are worth more than this suffering"? Because sometimes a single encounter is enough to change a destiny, and sometimes the true inheritance is not an apartment. It is the courage to start over.